And good morning and welcome to another edition of Telling It Like It Is. My name's Ralph Williams. I'm the host. And here's my co-host, Leo Haggerty. Leo, welcome to the program. Hold on, I got to switch screens up. There we go. Leo, welcome to the program this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing well, trying to stay warm. It's like 20-some degrees up here.
Well, at least you're not in Kansas City or Buffalo, right?
Oh, you got it. Hang on a minute. All right, there we are. We got to get it off. All right. All right, there we are. And this is going to be a great morning, Leo. We got a lot to talk about here. National championship game. We got some coaches in the NFL moving around, been hired. We have a lot of the playoff games today and a whole lot more. So we have a lot to talk about this morning here. But before we do that, we're going to tell you that we're in the First Line Consulting Services Studios. 1-877-926-6982 is the number to call. That's 1-877-926-6982. For all your website needs, you need one to be put up. They'll do it and they'll manage it, and they'll also upload all your videos. All one low monthly price. First Line Consulting Services. All right. Next, we have our new sponsor today, which will sponsor our first segment. We're going to talk about the college football championship and some coaching moves in college football. And it's brought to you by the original Hometown Pizza in Moon Township, 412-264-4444, University Boulevard, Moon Township. Some great pizza. You have to go check it out at the original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, University Boulevard. Eat in, take out, or have it delivered. 412-264-4444. And also mention my name and tell them you heard it here on an RW Media show, and you will get a discount on your order. So that's the original Hometown Pizza. All right, Leo, let's get started. Monday, we had the college football championship game. It was Michigan versus Washington. The first half wasn't bad. The second half turned into a big blowout by Michigan. What are your thoughts on this game?
Oh, you know what? It was a good game for a half, probably three quarters. And then there were two plays, Ralph, that really changed. Well, really three. Three plays that really changed the entire complexion of that football game. First, Penix got hurt. And right. I'm not saying dirty hit, nothing like that. He just got hurt. And you could see he was in pain and he was off his game because of the injury. The second was when Washington finally hit that big play. They're down 20-13. Hit that big play down the field. They're in the red zone in Michigan territory. And it comes back for a hold. And then they show it, and it's really a ticky-tack. The guy just put his arm out. I don't even think he had a jersey. Well, Washington punts, and then the next play, Michigan hits a big hitter up the middle, hits the tight end, and he runs a lot of yak, probably 30 yards. But they run it back, and here's the Michigan tackle. He's got the Washington defensive end by the jersey, and he's running.
Wow.
No call. That led to my rant Wednesday that the NFL and the NCAA, they've got to come up with some sort of enforceable rules for holding and pass interference. They've got to, because right now it's so subjective. And again, I would bet my mortgage that coaches are coaching these guys to hold and to pass interfere, simply because it's just the way things are. They say, well, the referee isn't going to call it every play. So guess what? If they call it once every 4 plays, we've got away with 3 of them. So, yeah, they've got to do something about it because it is totally out of hand.
Oh, yeah, it is out of control. I've been talking about the officiating for a while and some of these rules. You're right. You know, let me say this. We have a shutdown quarter. I'm sure you're familiar with Joey Porter Jr., and he does a lot of ticky-tacky, and he does a lot of pushing and bumping, but he's a shutdown corner, and that's why we drafted him, because we needed a shutdown corner. he gets penalties every now and again, but if I tell you what, if they came up with some rules, he get a penalty every play because it's just the way that he plays his game, and that's how it is. He's a shutdown corner. But I'm hoping that the NFL and the NCAA are a big joke nowadays, Leo. They don't care. They only worry about money. They don't care about nothing else. And who cares whether or not they really want to make any kind of rules. The NFL probably cares a little bit more. The NCAA, they don't care at all.
No, and especially after what they did to Florida State. And again,
Oh,
I,
I'm not,
I,
yeah.
I can't, as a former coach, I am mortified by that. Because what message did you send to those players? Well, you lost one player, so you're no damn good. Okay, can't go down that road ever. They circled the wagons. Their backup quarterback went in, beat North Alabama. They were down 13-0. Came back. He comes in,
Right.
goes to Florida. The Swamp is not the easiest place to play. I can tell you that. Goes in, beats Florida, gets concussed. They bring their third-team quarterback in. Rally the troops. That defense plays lights out. Hey, Louisville's not chopped liver on offense.
No,
Trust
they're
me.
not. No, not at all.
And
Not at all.
and you saw them. In fact, Pittsburgh, I think, was the only team to
Oh,
beat
I saw
Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat Louisville. That was one of the games that we did win of the three that we did win this year. Pitt did. And I tell you what, Jeff Brom, when he was at Purdue, he had a big time offense there. So you're right. There's no, Louisville's no pushover.
No, and then you basically, I I will never forget the picture of the Florida State room when they announced Alabama. It was like, two words, and it wasn't happy birthday or Merry Christmas. That was the utter insult of everything that college football is supposed to be. You're supposed
Right.
to play for your teammate. You're supposed to play for your university. Well, and Ralph, I know I touched on this last week, but I got to touch on it again.
That's
Some
fine.
idiot, and again, I got to call this guy an idiot. He sends me a text, says it's not about who earned it, it's who deserved it. Now, how stupid does that
Stupid is that
sound?
a text.
And,
Yes,
and you know what,
exactly.
Ralph, you can't fix
It is.
stupid. But
No.
yeah,
Stupid never
it's
takes a vacation. No.
no, ever. And you know what? It's all about who earned it. It's not about who
Yes.
deserved it. If it's who deserved it, why play the season? You
Right.
know, and next year, Ralph, this is the easiest fix in the world for next year. The four conference championships in the Power Four, because the Pac-12 is not going to have, that kind of conference.
Right.
They get the automatic buys. The teams that lost, they get the home games.
Yeah.
So then you fill in that group of five team and then the three other at large. This is how you do it. You don't. It is so simple, but you know what, Ralph? Because it's simple, the NCAA won't do it. Why?
Right.
Because the SEC thinks they got to have 5 or 6 teams in this, and that's just
Oh, absolutely. And
yeah,
it's not right at all. But
no,
I will give you some good news. It was announced this past week that the NCAA is going to look into some structure for the bowl games. Like we're talking, you can't change your team if you're a coach. They're actually looking into that because they're getting a lot of complaints from the universities and the student body, or the universities are really getting angry about some of this stuff. And I don't blame them. They need to. It's about time they step up. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And do something and say something. And I guess they're getting a lot of slack right now. And, the NCAA don't want to lose money. So what they're going to do is they're going to come up with some ridiculous policy that's going to say, well, you can't really move from team to team as a coach until after the Bulls have been satisfied. And that's the way I look at it.
Well, you
And
know
I
what, Ralph?
don't know what they're going to do.
You know what? Let's save the NCAA some time and money because we can
All right.
solve this in 2 minutes. You ready? Here
Right.
we go.
Yes.
And I'm screaming. First thing you got to do is get rid of the early signing date. You got to
Right.
get rid of that.
Right.
Go back to
Yes.
February. Okay, boom.
Yes.
That takes care of it because kids got to get in the portal if there's an early signing date. Okay, you stop that. You get rid of the early signing date. You stop coaching movement and player
Yes.
movement till after the last college football game is played. Not your game, but the last
Oh,
college
yeah, yeah,
football game.
yeah. Like, for instance, if you're in the toilet bowl on December 16th, and I'll use that as an example, which is one of the lower bowls, and you start on December 16th, and your bowl's over, that gives you ahead of an opportunity. But I agree with you. Like they should wait till after the championship game is and everything is satisfied before they even make a move at all.
Oh, absolutely. And again,
You know,
everybody's saying, well, we got to hire a coach because of the early signing date. Get rid of that
no,
early
you don't
signing
have to
date.
sign a
You
coach.
get
No,
that's
right.
the tip of the iceberg. You get that iceberg melts because now again we're sitting at the ReliaQuest Bowl, Ralph, and this is the God's honest truth. Brian
I know
Kelly.
you and Peter had a blast. I saw that.
Oh, absolutely. But Brian Kelly, Luke Fickell had to leave the press conference to talk kids out
To
of the
talk
portal.
to recruits on the phone. Yeah,
Yeah,
you told
yeah.
me that story
It's
a
like
couple
you got
weeks
to be
ago.
kidding
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
This should be a time where you're enjoying it. And you know what? They got to get the NIL under control because Brian
That's
Kelly
another
hit the
story.
nail on
Yeah.
the head. He said, right now, it's play for pay. And
Well, you know
all you
what?
do,
Penn State's got $70 million budgeted for their NIL, and the University of Pittsburgh, and I think I've told you this, went out and started Alliance 412. They went out and got a group to collect donations, and now that group isn't like when the athlete comes in, the recruit, and they gave them NIL or a transfer, and they gave them NIL. That person has to go see this group before they come into the pit. They have to see this group, okay, and it's head up by former Bills GM Doug Whaley is
yeah.
heading
And,
it up.
and
So,
here's the crazy thing, Ralph. The NCAA, in its infinite stupidity,
and it's
thought that
infinite wisdom. No,
infinite stupidity. And again, stupidity doesn't take a vacation
that's right.
because
That's
here
right.
they are. They're figuring Congress is going to pass laws for them. Hey, you got to be kidding me. Those guys down there, they can't even run the country. You expect them to
No,
run the
they can't. They
NCAA?
can't run the country. They don't keep track of the defense secretary. It's
No, that's
it's terrible.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Oh,
and
I can't wait until Biden goes bye-byes, and I hope he does this next election. I
and
don't
here's
care who's in there.
and here's my last point. Look for this to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. Football's going to break away from the NCAA. They're just going to figure out, hey, why do we need them? They're just a middleman. We can negotiate with the networks ourselves. We don't need the NCAA. All that
Right.
is
Like
we're
Notre
losing
Dame
money.
negotiated NBC. Notre
Uh-huh.
Dame was on
Yeah,
NBC, and they
they're
hit
gonna
the
figure
contract. Yes.
they're gonna figure this out and look for this maybe to happen. Nick Saban to be named the commissioner of college football. So he'll be the commissioner, and you know what? He'll run
Uh,
it right. And you know what that also
I didn't
does.
know he was against all that stuff. I thought he was actually for it because it helps his team. I never knew he was against all that stuff, that NIL and all that. I didn't know that was something he didn't like or something.
Well, none of the coaches are against it, Ralph. They're just against the way it has become.
Oh,
They have no
there's no
problem.
structure.
No,
Yeah,
no
there's no
structure.
structure of it. No.
And what a surprise. The NCAA, no structure? Duh. I mean, come on. Wait. Hey, NCAA, if you're listening, hire me. I'll fix your problems in a weekend. It'll be cheap. It'll be done right. I'm here. Pick up the
That's it.
phone.
I know what you're saying. Exactly. All right, Leo. Our next segment is brought to you in part by Sleep Pittsburgh. Sleep Pittsburgh, 412-462-7858. Sleep Pittsburgh, 8th Avenue, Homestead, and sleeppittsburgh.com. Check out their selection of some great bedding. If you need a mattress and you don't have to take out a loan, call them today. That number, 412-462-7858 or sleeppittsburgh.com. Check out all of their inventory and see what they have. They also do no credit check financing. Sleep Pittsburgh, the best sleep tonight. All right, let's talk
Hey,
about.
Ralph, before we move on, real quick, we got to make note of South Dakota State. They won back-to-back
Yes, they have.
championships.
Yes, they did.
Back-to-back
You're
and
exactly right.
go
Yes.
undefeated. You know, it's amazing
Good for them.
what they're
Good
doing.
for them. Yes.
Yeah. And
Before we leave college football segment here, let's talk about the new coach down at Alabama. The guy from Washington. He went straight down there, and there we are. So,
hey,
what do you think
Ralph,
of that hire?
I got a good one for you. You need to get Troy Odegaard back on because guess where he was the basketball coach? Sioux Falls, where DeBoer started. He was
really?
on the same staff with him. He was basketball. DeBoer was football. You need to get Troy Odegaard on. He's probably got some great DeBoer stories as to what's going on. And, when everybody came out and said, is Dabo going, I said, yeah, he's an alum. But the first rule as a coach is you never follow a legend because you're never going to look good. So you wait for that one guy to come in. If he does well, great. If he stumbles, they forget about who was the guy before. Now they're looking for somebody to get better.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, the key there, Leo, he has to hire a good assistant staff. I
Oh,
mean,
that's always
he
the
has.
case.
Yeah, he
That's
has to hire. If he can hire a good staff that can help him with recruiting and everything else, he'll make it there in Alabama. But if he hires a bunch of chintzies, forget it. It's over. You know
and
what I
you know
mean? He's
what?
not going to make it there. And the alum and the student body's going to be pissed, and they're going to, you know what I mean? They're really going to eat him up, and then he'll get fired.
Yeah, and you know what? A couple of those assistants, maybe 3 or 4, they better be able to say y'all because if they can't, they're not going to fit in Alabama because
No, not at all.
Tuscaloosa
Not at all.
is not Seattle, Washington. Yeah,
No, it's not.
now you can take your offensive coordinator, you can take your defensive coordinator, but you know what? You better come up with some people who have Alabama roots because if you start losing to Auburn in particular, ooh, that alumni not going to be happy.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because Auburn stinks. They haven't had a good team in a long time. I mean, I don't mean they stink. I mean, Hal Mume's down there now, and they have an average team. They're 6-5 every year, but they're not the Auburn they used to be. Gosh, I remember when the draft picks came out like crazy down there, and
Yeah.
and the Steelers took a guy named Kendall Simmons. I remember when we drafted him, an offensive lineman. So, they haven't been good since Todd Monken was our coach.
Yeah, and you know what, Ralph? Let's talk about the bowls real quick before we go on.
Sure.
You think it's time to cut back on all these bowl games because you got teams that are 6-6. That's not a winning record. In fact,
How about
you
that
had
time
5
Rutgers? What was it, 2 or 3 years ago? They didn't have a team, and they asked Rutgers to participate, and they were 5-6.
Yeah,
They weren't even above the carousel here.
Yeah, Minnesota went in this year at 5-7 because they
5-7.
they had the best grade point average of the average yearly progress, AYP. That got them in. But you know what? It's time to get rid of this, especially now when you're going to have a New Year's Eve game, a playoff game, the second round, and you're going to have 3 of them on New Year's Day, and there can't be any games that are going at the same time frame. So you're going to be moving the Capital One. You're going to be moving the ReliaQuest Bowl. Yeah, you may be moving some other bowl games in there just to see what happens. But, now New Year's Eve and New Year's
they
Day.
have to cut back on these bowls. This is
Yeah, and ESPN owns 31 of them. All they're doing is paying for a team to show up the day before. There is no bowl experience. That's the thing. ReliaQuest Bowl, you show up, you're there for a week, you go to Busch Gardens, you go to Clearwater Beach, you go out to the hospital. It's an experience. Now it's going to change with the playoffs. You're going to show up 2 days before, you're going to practice, you're going to play, and you're going to get out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, that's the way it is. Diggs, BTW says, what's up? And I said, we're good. That's what's up. So
let's get to the NFL, Ralph. That's the important one today.
Yeah, let's talk about this New England hiring. Jared Mayo. How about that? Well, I didn't expect that right away. I thought we were going to see. I mean, I heard stories Mike Vrabel was going to get that job. I heard stories they interviewed Josh McDonough. I call him Josh McDonough, McDaniels. And then I heard they were going to interview Brian Flores. They never interviewed any of them. They just bumped up Jared Mayo. I guess this guy supposedly was for the last few years Belichick's right-hand man. Yeah. I heard, Oh, no. I know who they're going to hire, Matt Patricia.
You know what, Ralph? Here's the thing. And people need to listen to this. If you do not get a home playoff game for your owners, I don't care what your record is, your job's in jeopardy. Why is that? Because let's just take Dallas. Jerry Jones, the 1 year they lost their last game to the Eagles, you could see in the press box, he was in tears. Why? That just cost him $100 million. During this season, revenue is shared. It's either 80-20 or 90-10. Now, it's not on the suites, but it's on the regular season tickets. You got to give the visiting team. Well, guess what? In the playoffs, you don't share revenue. None. Zero. So all these owners are making anywhere from 60 to 100 million plus on a home
Right.
playoff game. Nick
Yes.
Sirianni may be in trouble
Yeah,
because
I don't get that. Is Jeffrey
uh,
Lurie that stupid? I mean, what the heck is he doing up there? I mean, I could see if he did like what he did with Doug Peterson and Andy Reid, after the Super Bowl, give him a year or two and then fire him or whatever. But I mean, he just come out of a Super Bowl and and already wants to fire this guy for one bad season. I mean, it's not even a bad season.
here's the problem, Ralph. Look who's hanging around. Bill Belichick,
Yeah.
Pete Carroll. Look
Yes.
who's hanging around. And I think Todd Bowles is in more hot water than anybody else if he gets blown out. Because you got
Yeah.
Bruce
Yeah.
Arians still in the building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? You don't have Tom Brady, so if
Yeah.
if Arians decides to come back and they fire Todd Bowles or bump him down because he's an Arians disciple, I'm sure Bowles would stay as a defensive assistant or an assistant head coach because he's a Arians disciple. So you might bringing Arians back might not be a bad idea, but I don't know. I mean, he's past tense. Bump up
Well,
Dave
yeah.
Canellis. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, or something.
Yeah, but there's two big names out there that owners can look at and go, "Hey, these guys got Super Bowl rings.
Super Bowl
My guy
rings. Yeah,
doesn't." You know, that's
yeah.
that's
And
huge. So yeah,
money
there's
will bring him out of retirement. Can you
yeah.
imagine
Oh
Belichick?
yeah.
Can you imagine Belichick coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you guys end up in 2 or 3 Super Bowls? How many
Oh
how many more he would have? And
oh
Tom
God.
Brady would come back in a minute.
I don't know. I think Brady. I think Father Time is beating up Tom Brady because he's when the pressure got to him in the pocket, he surrendered faster than the French army in World War II. I mean, he went down in a hurry.
Remember in Caddyshack when Ted Knight said to Rodney Dangerfield, "You have worn out your welcome at Bushwood, sir." Yeah,
Yes.
well, Tom Brady's worn out his welcome in the NFL. So
Yeah, it's just it was guy. He's 46. He'll be 47 years old. You know, you're not
I
George
know,
Blanda, and all
right?
George did was kick.
Yeah, there you go.
All
Hey,
right,
Gary Anderson played and Morton Anderson, I think they played in their
they were
40s. I
up there.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, both
So,
of them.
who do you like today, Ralph?
Well, we have let's go over all the games. We got the Texans and the Browns. I want the Texans. I can't stand the Browns. I hope the Browns get blown out or something in this game. I hope they lose. KC and Miami. It's looking like that's going to be a blizzard there. So we'll see what goes on there. And then the Steelers Bills. I think the Steelers can win this game if they control the football, the line of scrimmage, kill the clock, and keep Josh Allen off the field. I think they'll be okay. And Packers, Cowboys, Eagles, Bucks, Detroit, and the Rams. So let's take a look at some of these games. Let's start with Detroit and the Rams. I think Detroit's going to win this game. I like Campbell, Dan Campbell. I think he's a good coach. What do you think about this game?
I do too. I think, and again, when Dan Campbell came in there, he said we're going to be the toughest team in the NFL, and by God, I think they are,
They are,
especially
yes.
especially in the trenches. They came in and just flat out beat up the Buccaneers, both sides of the football. I expect the same thing to happen. I expect Detroit to win. Hey, close game, but I expect Detroit to win 27-24.
All right, here's a game of two coaches who are walking on eggshells, Eagles and the Bucks. Now we're hearing that Nick Sirianni's on eggshells, which I don't understand that. But then again, he did it to himself. He lost 2 of his assistants, which was, of course, they went to the NFL or they went to be a head coach for better things. That's fine. But he should have replaced them with some guys that are almost as good as them because now the assistants he has and some of the injuries and some of the other stuff that's going on here with the Eagles, I think the Buccaneers have a chance to win this game if they control the line of scrimmage and run the football, and stay penalty free. And Baker Mayfield can come out and have a decent, at least a manageable game. I don't care if you win 9-3, at least you win.
You know what, Ralph? I'm taking the weather on this. It's supposed
Okay.
to rain. If it's a good day, no rain, the Bucks. If it
Right.
rains, the Eagles, because the Eagles run the football better than Tampa Bay.
Tampa
But,
Bay, yeah.
but I'll tell you what, look for this puppy to go overtime. I don't. And
Yeah,
again,
it's going to be a dogfight. It's not going to be an
uh-huh,
easy game. A lot of these games,
absolutely.
some of these games are going to be dogfights, and don't sell out none of these 9-8 teams. I mean, like the Bucks, the Packers, 9-8. Don't sell those teams out. I mean, they can be just as dangerous as anybody else. This is a new season.
And you know
When
why,
you
Ralph? They've been
it's a new
playing win
season.
or go home the past 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Yes,
So they've had to
they
win.
have.
So yeah.
Right. All right. Next, we have Packers, Cowboys. I think. Well, again, don't sell the Packers short. I mean, Jordan Love has pulled out some magic here and there at times, but I think the Cowboys are going to win this game, and I think it's going to be 31-20.
You
What
know
do you
what,
think?
Ralph? I agree with the Cowboys only because Green Bay has the youngest roster on the NFL. And, the Cowboys, when they get in the playoffs, for some reason, something always goes wrong.
Yeah, I know.
And
Hey,
it just
I
goes
think if
wrong.
Mike McCarthy loses this game, I think he's fired. I
Well,
personally believe that.
now you got the owner home game, and that's $100 million. Now, again, if they get beat 45-3, anything's possible. But you
Right.
know what? When you look at this game, I think the Cowboys win. I think Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator for Green Bay, has a great scheme. He keeps it close.
Yeah.
And as long as Jordan Love doesn't turn it over, I think this game's going to go into the fourth quarter. But I look for the Packers to win. Not as high scoring game, 23-20.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Packers are like the Steelers; they win ugly,
Yeah.
but that's fine. Who cares if you win ugly? Look at what the Bucks did against the Carolina
Carolina.
Panthers, nine
Oh,
nothing.
God. If
Yeah.
they'd have played any other team, they'd have lost. So you know what? And you know what, Ralph? Like you said, stupid never takes a vacation. An ugly win is better than a pretty loss every day of the week.
Every day of the week. That's it. Okay. Next, we're getting the AFC Steelers Bills. I think the Steelers can pull this off, and here's what I'm predicting: 17-17 down to the wire, and Chris Boswell with a field goal wins at 2017 Steelers. What do you think?
Ralph, I saw the field. It's under snow right now. They have to, and they're talking 60-mile-an-hour winds. You know what that
They're
does?
asking for volunteers to come with
Yep.
a shovel. They said
Yeah,
if you come at 10 o'clock last night with a shovel, they'll pay you $20 an hour to shovel the snow.
and give you a break in food. Hey,
And
I was
food, yeah.
tempted. I wanted to get
Hey,
on a
if
plane and
I
go
could
up there.
walk in, I'd want to drive up. I wouldn't want to drive up here from Pittsburgh. No, I wouldn't want to do that. But if I lived up there, and I would, that would be fun. Just to,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Plus
But
they get paid for it. Heck,
yeah,
they
I
couldn't
asked.
find as many people for the Batman movie, the
Oh
Phil
yeah,
Hines film. They were offering $20 an hour to sit in the stands, plus food and everything else was free.
yeah.
They couldn't even get anybody for the Batman movie
Oh,
here.
that's crazy. But you
Yeah,
know what? I asked Dave Canales, what's the two things you worry about when you go and play in weather? He said, rain and wind. And
yeah,
you're going to have wind up in Buffalo. And I can remember one of the Bears games. The guy kicked an extra point or a short field goal, and he
right.
started it 10 yards outside the right upright, and the wind blew it outside the left upright. So, yeah, uh, I agree with you. The Steelers, if they can run the football, because you
Run the
can't throw
ball.
it, you're not going to
Right.
be able to
No,
throw
no,
it in
no.
that.
If they can run the football, control the line of scrimmage, and kill the clock and keep Josh Allen off the field, I think they'll be fine. And they've
Yeah.
been doing that lately, too. So let's see
I
what they
just
do.
don't think they'll be able to do that consistently. I think Buffalo wins. Ralph, I'm on the same thing with you. I think it's going to be 17-13 Bills.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a close. The KC game with Miami and the
Oh,
Steelers Bills game. Those two games are not, and I repeat, are not going to be high scoring games because of the weather. It's not going to happen. And if it does, I'll be really surprised. I mean,
and
I
you know
really
what?
will.
You know what, Ralph? Troy sent me a Troy Odegaard, who you've had on your show. He
Yeah.
sent me a
So
text
good.
this morning.
Yes.
He said, the National Weather Service is telling people if you go to the game, you must be bundled up everywhere,
Yeah.
head to toe.
Yeah. Well, I
What's going
worked in
to
Hinesville in
what's
below zero temperatures. I know what it is, man. I had a coat on, a hat. I had the thing over my face. I mean, it was a rough situation.
Yeah, I'm just hoping nobody dies because
Yeah,
you're talking a minus 20 wind chill. I think the
yeah.
best part. Let's see what Taylor Swift is wearing today. You know, that'll be the
Oh
fun
no,
part.
oh no. Yeah, she'll be wearing some skimpy clothes sitting in a warm press box. That's
Oh,
what
I
she'll
doubt
be at.
that. I'll bet she probably looked like the Michelin Man. She'll have enough layers on her that
Or
if she
Or
falls
Quinn
down,
the
she'll
Eskimo.
bounce.
Quinn the Eskimo.
That's funny. All right, Ralph, hit the sponsors, and then we'll call it a day. How's that sound?
Oh, yeah, that'll work. Oh, we didn't go over the KC Miami game and the Texans Browns game real quick. What do you
All
think?
right. I think Kansas City wins just because they're used to playing in at Miami. They're gonna look like icebergs up there. But again, another low scoring game.
Scoring game,
20,
right?
20 to 14. Kansas
Okay.
City. I'm taking the Browns, Ralph. I know that hurts you, but they've been there before. Houston hasn't.
They have a good team, and I shot them down at the beginning of the year. I said, "Oh, Cleveland's gonna make mistakes. Oh, Cleveland's gonna stink," and here they are. And
you
my
know what
co-host
travels,
Jim
Ralph?
Frazier said they were going to be all right.
You know what travels? Running game and defense, and that's what's going to
Yeah.
show up at
Jim
Houston. I think the
Schwartz's
Browns win.
defenses are great. I mean, Jim
Yep.
Schwartz is a great defensive coordinator. That was a
And
good hire, and they still have
think you're
Alex
looking.
Stamp out there.
I think you're looking 23-16 Browns.
I'm looking for somebody to pick up Luke Getsy. He was just fired by Chicago. Luke Getsy's a good offensive coordinator and a good quarterbacks coach. Played for Pitt, was a quarterback at Pitt.
Yeah.
So, and from this area, from Bell Vernon. So, All right. For draft412.com. I'm here today to talk to you about draft412.com. Draft412.com is a draft magazine that will give you all the skinny and all the details on all the different drafts available, which are the NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and they have a soccer draft today. They're involved in a soccer draft. So there you go. And they also have the NFL draft. So you need to get on draft412.com if you need all the information and data as it opposes to Athletes for Drafts. $9 a month. Guess what? It goes right in your e-box. One of the best investments you'll ever make. $9 a month, and that's all it is. Draft412.com. All right. Leo, you want to talk about these coaching situations in the NFL real quick, or do you want to head out, or what?
Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do that. Yeah,
I think Harbaugh is going to end up somewhere. If the Raiders decide to keep Pierce, I think he ends up with the Chargers because, hey, if you're going to ride off into the sunset, you ride off as a winner. And I think Harbaugh wanted to do that.
Well, he did it, and he's going to be the first coach to ever win a national championship and go to the win a Super Bowl. Yeah. So, I don't think there's any other coach that's ever done that.
Yeah. Hey, Ralph, here's my question. If it comes back that Michigan is found guilty of cheating, do they got to give back the trophy?
Ooh. That's a good question. Ooh. That's a good question because I don't think the NCAA will let them do it because I don't think they want to put up with the slack that's going to come behind it. Oh, you took their trophy. Oh, they earned it. They did this and that. But you violated rules. I mean, whatever rules there are that are, I've told you numerous times, the NCAA is a joke, a big joke.
I don't think the NCAA will even investigate it because
I don't think so either. They'll
no harm, no foul. They got what they wanted.
Right. So what that does is that opens the door for everybody else to do it.
Yep.
Okay. And you know what's interesting? Let's say, for instance, Pitt does it. They violate some rules. What are you going to do? Punish them? No, you better not. Because if you punish them and you didn't punish Michigan, you're going to have big problems. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I don't think the NCAA is willing to do that. I really don't. You know what I mean? But if they brush it under the rug, they better be prepared. If they decide to lay the law down on an Akron or a Toledo or somebody like that, if they decide to lay the law down, they better pray that university doesn't sue them. Because technically, you can't do that to somebody like that. That's not right.
And you know what, Ralph? We used to have an old saying that, they caught Oklahoma cheating, so they punished Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Mike Gundy, he's been there forever. I wonder when he's going to go back to the other hairstyle he had before the one he has now.
I like the mullet. That was a classic.
Yeah, that was a classic. Yes, it was.
I guess he's 40 now, and he can't have the mullet. He's 40.
Right. So where do you think some of these people go? Atlanta's looking at Raheem Morris. Carolina, I hear Kellen Moore's looking at that job, or they're looking at him. Where does Bieniemy go? That's my question. Does he stay with Washington, or does he try to go somewhere?
Well, I'll tell you what. That's up to Washington. Are they going to clean house, or are they going to just not do anything. That's crazy. So,
Well, they're down a defensive coordinator. They fired Jack Del Rio. So, I mean, with that, they're going to need a defensive coordinator. I don't know who the coach is even going to be yet at this point. I
well,
don't even
you
know
knew
who.
that was coming when the new ownership comes in, and you know what
Right,
it's like anywhere. If all of a sudden your general manager changes, your ownership changes, or your president changes in college,
right.
your athletic director, you're not their guy. So
Well,
yeah, be careful.
the WWE was bought out by Endeavor, and Endeavor
Yes,
owns MMA and Ultimate Fighting and all that other
yeah.
whatever. All right, they cleaned house. They got rid of people in the office. They got rid of wrestlers that were high salary, not performing. So it's like in every corporation. Well, like if you and I were involved in a like Odyssey now. Odyssey had to file for bankruptcy. The broadcasting company Odyssey. And I'm interested to see what they're going to do here in Pittsburgh because I was telling Peter on Wednesday night, I might end up being one of the only live broadcasters to do sports talk in Pittsburgh because in Western Pennsylvania because it's going to be me and another guy because we don't work for Odyssey. Now, Odyssey's going to clean house. They're going to put all that syndicated program on there, and they're not going to have anybody live. So, I mean, so that works for me, and I'm kind of glad I stayed where I am rather than trying to go to Odyssey because I tried to go to Odyssey.
And I'll tell you
So,
what, Ralph, AI is going to play a big part in this. They're going to start
yeah,
putting on.
yeah.
What was the guy they used to have on the music, the talking head, Mr.
No,
Moto?
it was Milli Vanilli. Remember
Billy
when
Vanilli.
they took that record skipped? They
Yep.
were playing in front of a crowd of 500,000 people at a New Hampshire county fair. It drew 500,000 people. How embarrassing that is! I
Oh,
mean, yeah, I
terrible.
remember the Milli Vanilli thing. I'm a DJ too. Don't forget, I
Oh,
DJ weddings and parties up here in
spin
Pittsburgh.
those tunes, big boy.
Oh, you know it. I love it, man. I love it. I love spinning tunes. I like meeting people. I like going to these, these events. It's a great thing. It's a fun thing to do, and it's
Yeah,
too bad
well,
that I didn't get it making it in radio or sooner than I am now. Yeah,
yeah. Well, the good news, Ralph, is we're not going to have to talk about coaching changes till after the Super Bowl because the NFL doesn't allow it. So
yeah,
they got
exactly.
they
Yeah,
got it in right under the gun with
yeah.
Jared Mayo. So yeah, it'll be interesting. So, hey, next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
You got it, man. We'll be here. We'll be talking some more about these playoff games and see where some of these teams go, the divisional rounds. We also, as always, we'll be talking about college football. I have to say, Pitt's done a really good job in the transfer portal this year. And then when Pat Narduzzi fired all his offensive staff, and he's got a new offensive coordinator that's running a go offense. And we just signed a transfer quarterback from Alabama. So there you are. So I think we'll see what happens. We'll see
Yeah.
where they
All
go.
right, my brother. Hey, you be safe, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.
All right. I'm going to take care of some sponsors here and some announcements, and we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. But you have a great one, Leo. Thank you as always, and I'll talk with you next week. And then we're going to have a great weekend here. And next Friday, I'd like to get you on the External Bum Show. So
Okay.
I'll be in touch. All right.
Let me know.
So
All right,
I
brother.
will. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye bye. All right. That was my co-host Leo Haggerty here on Telling It Like It Is. Just a few more sponsors here. P6 Auto Detailing. Give them a call today, 412-965-6578. Tell them you heard it here on RW Media Productions. The P6 Auto Detailing are the professionals at detailing your car. So take your car to the professionals at P6 Auto Detailing, 412-965-6578. P6 Auto Detailing in New Kensington. Are you handicapped? Or are you in a wheelchair? Well, I am. Okay. And I'm not going to deny it. But if you are, you need to get Fold and Travel Mobility. You need to call them today, 1-877-GOT-FOLD, or go on foldandtravelmobility.com and get a folding power wheelchair. Do you go to some events and you regret going there because it's too much for you to be wheeling a wheelchair? Instead, why don't you get one that'll easily go into the trunk of your car, and then you can fold it up, and it even comes with a remote control, and boom, it'll fold up, it'll unfold for you, and you know what? There's financing available. So give them a call, 1-877-GOT-FOLD. Tell them you heard it here on RW Media Production Programs, and also foldandtravelmobility.com. Get on a chat line with the professionals. Been in their business for over 20 years, not last week, not a month ago. They've been in it for 20 years. FoldenTravelMobility.com. You ought to call Mata. Listen, if you live in Western Pennsylvania or Ohio or West Virginia and you have issues with your furnace, all right, give Mata Heating and Air Conditioning a call today, 724-201-0500. Ask for Bill. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning offers furnaces, radiant floors, humidifiers, service contracts, heat pumps, summertime air conditioning, snow melt, air cleaners, and UV lighting. Hey, you have a property full of a lot of land and you want some great UV lighting, call them today. You have to call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Give them a call, 724-201-0500, and ask for Bill. Tell me you heard it here on RW Media Production Programs. All right. Sponsorship advertising. Look, I've talked to some people. I have friends in business, and they all tell me the same thing. I spent $6,000. I spent $8,000. I spent $4,000. Oops, I'm sorry I didn't call you, Ralph. I spent all this money on advertising. Well, how about doing it today for yourself? Look at your budget. January's here. I know businesses look at their budget. And don't fall into that trap of paying thousands of dollars when you can call 412-545-4317 and save some money on some great advertising. You get the radio show, Sports Corner radio show. You get 4 podcasts. You also get 3 national shows on Blog Talk Radio. All that for one price. Plus, RW Media Productions offers button advertising on www.rwmedia.org. Check it out. Okay. And the rates are very inexpensive. They're affordable. All right. So don't get caught into that advertising trap of paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for something that you're not going to get anything out of except out of your wallet. So, you know what? Put more money in your wallet by calling today, 412-545-4317. Sponsorship advertising with RW Media Productions. Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio. Go up to Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio. Visit there today if the snow's not too bad. Take your kids up there. Talk to Taylor and Caitlin up there. Nice people. They're the owners. Call 740-346-5442 or 740-632-2894 and email them at hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com and check them out on the website www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com, and they're also shipping so you can order online. So if you live in Alaska or you live in Texas or you live in Florida or you live wherever, they will deliver it right to your door. All you need to do is get on their website, check out their selection. They have some great package deals. And also you can find them on Facebook at Hillcrest Farm. Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio. All right, folks. Today, I have some announcements. Tomorrow, right at 20 minutes after the Steeler game, we will have our post-game show here, and I always have that. It's right here on our media platforms, our 4 media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. We'll have the post-game show. We'll dissect the Steeler-Bills game. And so far, it's me, Ralph Williams, and my co-host from Sports Corner, Smoking Jim Frazier. We might have some other guests on. I have to see who I can round up tonight, 7 p.m., Steel City Dynasty show with Bubba Brewer. I will be on at 7 o'clock, so tune into that. Tonight at 7, Bubba and I are going to dissect the Steeler game. Monday, the way we see it with myself and Bill Canada, we have a lot to talk about in Western Pennsylvania and across the country. It's a great show. Check it out. But before you check that show out at 7 o'clock Monday night, which is also here on our media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms, Blog Talk Radio, 11 a.m., Ralph's Opinion. Go and check out one of my archive versions of Ralph's Opinion, and you'll enjoy it. All right, we'll be on 11 a.m. as we always are on Monday. Last Monday, I had a prior commitment, couldn't get on until 11:30. I had to shorten the show. Apologize for that. But this week, Blog Talk Radio, 563-999-3740, Blog Talk Radio, or blogtalkradio.com/RW Media. Check out some of my archive versions. And then come on, blogtalkradio.com live. Become a subscriber, a listening subscriber. And guess what? You can listen to all of my programs live right on blogtalkradio.com. So make sure you do that as well. There's the chat line, and also when you call in to listen to the show at 563-999-3740, you never know. I might pop you on. So there you go. All right. You have a lot of options with this. And this is my national format, Blog Talk Radio. Also, check out my archive shows once again, blogtalkradio.com/RW Media. Okay. And you can check out my archive versions. And I'll be posting them on my Facebook page, my LinkedIn page, and my Twitter X platform. Also, Tuesday, every Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m., Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoke, and Jim Frazier. Our guest this week, Noah Howes. He's coming on. We're having a Pitt football special. He's going to come on and talk about the fall of Pitt football this year, 3-9. He's going to talk about their latest coaching hires, their latest transfer portals, NIL, the whole 9 yards. We're going to talk with Noah. He's from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We're going to have him on. I'm looking at getting somebody from Draft 412 on as well to talk about Pitt football and basketball. And then at 5 o'clock, I have the legend, the man, George Eichhorn. He will talk about Michigan Wolverines football. After their victory on Monday, I have George coming on. He reports for them, and he also is with the South Florida Tribune, which happens to be one of our national sponsors for Sports Corner Radio Show. All right, and then on Wednesday, 7 p.m., Blog Talk Radio, 563-999-3740, 3740, 563-999-3740. Wrestle Talk with me, Ralph Williams, Smoke, and Jim Frazier. We had a big listenership on Wednesday. I had a independent wrestler, Randy Ladyka, and we're going to continue to have independent wrestlers and some possible WWE stars. We're working on getting some guys on here and there. So, or former stars, we're working on getting them on as well. Talk a little bit about the business. I know some of them got cut from the WWE. It would be interesting to see what we can do with that. But Smoke and Jim and I break down all the news in the WWE, AEW, ROH, MLW, NWA, TNA, Impact, and a whole lot more. Wednesday, 7 p.m., 563-999-3740. Big time audience we had this Wednesday, and I hope we can continue to do so as well. Archive versions are available, blogtalkradio.com/RW Media. Fridays, every Friday, Blog Talk Radio. Once again, I told you I have some shows here on Blog Talk Radio. Also, if you're interested in putting a show on and you need someone to produce it, I'll be more than happy to produce it for you. Call for some rates, 412-545-4317. Very affordable. Okay, monthly rates. I will produce your show. You can put 4 half-hour shows on a month or 4 one-hour shows a month, and I will produce it for you. So there you are. And it goes through blogtalkradio.com. So let me know if you're interested. I will produce the shows for you on Blog Talk Radio. Very affordable rates, 412-545-4317. Or you can email me at ralphwilliams737@gmail.com as well. All right. Next, the External Bum Shows on Friday, 10:30 in the morning. Every Friday, myself, JT Toth from draft412.com, and Scott Morganroth from the South Florida Tribune as well. We talk about bums in sports, and then we get into some sports topics as well. All right, there's the lowdown of the RW Media Productions scheduling. Next Sunday, if the Steelers move on, which I'm hoping they probably will, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I told everyone out there that if the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, I didn't say win, I say go to the Super Bowl, I will do a show, one of my radio shows, naked. All right, so which means if the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, I will do a show naked. I just want to let the radio show, Sports Corner Radio Show. All right, I already made that pledge. I live up to my promises. When I tell you, well, I've said it before. When I'm right, I'll tell you I'm right. When I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. And there's not many media people that do that. But when I tell you I'm going to do something, I do it. All right. So there you are. Coming up in February, and I know this month on Sports Corner Radio Show, we've had some theme days. But coming up in February, at the first week of February, we're going to have an open show, which means anyone can call in, talk about anything they want to talk about in sports on Sports Corner Radio Show. We try to have one of those once a month, but sometimes based on the subject topic and things like that. And one other thing, too, I want to throw out there. Leo's on time constraints, so I couldn't really do it with him. All right. I don't know if a lot of you are aware, and some of you are, maybe some of you are not. There's a big battle here in Western Pennsylvania. Beaver County School, Aliquippa High School. Tuesday on Sports Corner Radio, 99.3 FM, 12:30 a.m. Live on Beaver County Radio's YouTube channel, Facebook page, and also on their website and their app and www.rwmedia.org. Smoking Jim and myself had Aliquippa High School head coach Mike Warfield on live in the studio. Now, the reason I had him on, and I was working on getting on a state senator named Rob Massey. The PIAA, the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, has decided that they're going to bump up Aliquippa once again. And Aliquippa has won the state title in 4A, and now they want to bump them up to 5A. They're a very small school. They don't have a lot of enrollment. Okay? It's bad enough now that I'm not saying bad, but their athletes have to continue to compete in higher levels, which some of the athletes they have, I don't think they can. And it's no knock on them. Now that the PIAA wants to move them up to 5A. You have two teams, one in the middle of the state and one in the eastern part of the state near Philly. St. Joe's Prep, which is near Philly, and Southern Columbia, which is in the middle of the state. Southern Columbia is in 2A. I got a whole heap of emails because I said something about Southern Columbia being bumped up too. They should be. They have won 7 state titles in a row, and they have not been bumped up from 2A. Why? I want to know why. And I want from you, RalphWilliams737@gmail.com. We got a couple minutes right here. I want to hear your comments. Why do you think, and I think Southern Columbia needs to be bumped up. St. Joe's Prep needs to be bumped up. But they're going to pick on Aliquippa. Now, Aliquippa has appealed it. I don't blame them. They just did it a few days ago. All right. And I'm going to continue to be on this until the PIAA changes their mind on Aliquippa. It's not fair. It's not right. And you know what? Now Aliquippa, instead of playing some of the rivalry games that they were playing now, getting familiar with the teams they're with, now they got to go and play different teams in a different bracket of 5A. Okay? The PIAA should be ashamed of themselves for all this. It's disgusting. It's terrible. I don't like it, and I'm gonna be an advocate for them, for Aliquippa. Okay? Rob Massey's doing a good job as a state senator. He's getting involved. Okay. And you know what's really sad? And maybe this goes on in your community. And I've heard some emails of some people that say this politics goes on in their state. This politics goes on in where they live. All right. Why have we turned high school football into politics? It's bad enough the NFL's politics. It's bad enough college football has turned into a fiasco and a circus. And now high school football has to be a politics. And there were politics involved. You had all these parents who are on school boards. Little Johnny, little Sonny, little Harry can't play football. Okay, their son stinks, and then they get mad at the coach. They get on the school board or the athletic board or whatever, and they fire him. They fire the coach because their little son wasn't playing football. Okay, that is a politics. This whole thing is a politics. And now I've exposed it nationally. Not only on this program, but on my external bump show. Because the PIAA are a bunch of bumps. When you do this kind of stuff to a team and then you don't do it to Southern Columbia, and you don't do it to St. Joe's Prep, that's when I have a problem. When I see an injustice like this, that's when I get angry. All right? And those of you who have supported my shows know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. I've exposed businesses. I've said some unfair things about some places. And maybe that's why I don't get the sponsors that I need to get, because a lot of these businesses are afraid. Oh, we can't deal with him. He's Captain Big Mouth. All right. And yeah, I have exposed some businesses who I thought had millions and millions of dollars, and they're going to give me a problem over a small amount of advertising. And I'm not going to mention no names because the last time I did that, believe it or not, I got in trouble. And it was right here on one of my own shows. And I got in trouble with the radio station that I have Sports Corner on. All right. I think that's unfair, but that's beside the point. Okay. I should be allowed on my own programs to say whatever I want. Okay. And if you wouldn't have been so cheap and pinch pennies, all right, then we wouldn't have had a problem. And then you jerk me around asking for this, asking for that. Give me this, give me that. And we're talking about a small amount of money. I'm talking small amount of money. Okay. And you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on advertising, but you won't spend a little bit of money with me and help me out. That's when I have a problem. Okay. All right. That's why there's businesses out here that don't want to spend money on advertising, that are scared. Okay. So I'm upset with the PIAA. And if those of you out there that want to get mad at me, just like you got mad at me about the officiating in the Westinghouse South Columbia game, Southern Columbia game, because it was bad. And you did it against Westinghouse because you didn't want Westinghouse to win the title. You wanted Southern Columbia for a seventh time. So don't give me no bull on any email that you send me telling me I'm wrong. One of my best friends was on the sidelines and told me, Ralph, these officials are horrible. I watched the game. You picked on Westinghouse because you didn't want them to win the title. You wanted Southern Columbia again. And again, here we are, cheating politics. And don't tell me it doesn't exist, because it does. And this is sad. It's sad. And I think you'll agree with me on that. And if you do, RalphWilliams737@gmail.com. All right. Also, don't forget to keep track of my social media platforms: LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Facebook. And I'm also on this Tumblr too. All right. So don't forget to get on those sites and check out all my announcements of all my shows. Write it down, put it in your calendar, in your phone, call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody, get them involved in RW Media shows. I would appreciate it. Thank you. And anybody that's a business out there that's hurting in Western Pennsylvania or Ohio, West Virginia, and you're looking, or anywhere in the country, and you're looking for some great, and I'm telling you, affordable advertising, call me today. 412-545-4317. Email me, RalphWilliams737@gmail.com. This stuff costs money. And I'm asking you to help me keep my dream going by helping me out with some sponsorship and advertising. Everyone have a great day. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy all the games, because there are a whole bunch of them, and all the NFL wildcard weekend. Have a good one. Have a great one. Thank you.